Welcome to the Take a Listing Today podcast, where our hosts Jim Studebaker and Todd Robertson give you strategies to get you out of the office right now so you can take a new listing today. And now, here's Jim and Todd.
Hey. Hello, welcome back. Take a Listing Today podcast. We are glad you are with us. Don't forget our website, takealistingtoday.com, where you can sign up for our next live recording and ask questions of the experts. And for our purposes, the experts are Todd Robertson right over here.
Whoa, from Bakersfield, California, which is on nobody's bucket list in the country, by the way.
And Lisa Gray, our producer over there.
Whoa, from Wisconsin, which, yeah.
Cheesehead.
Cheesehead.
That's the cheese capital, is that,
Yes.
am I remembering that right?
Cows, cheese, snow, a lot of snow in the winter.
All right, well, very nice. Well, you have to have snow to make cheese, right? I'm not sure that's true, but we're going to run with that, right?
Exactly. We're going to roll
So
that.
today's topic is wonderful. You're going to be very glad that you joined us today. We're going to tell you the right way to find a real estate mentor.
And the reason this topic is important, and take out your success journal, grab a pen and paper, and here's why. This will really help you accelerate the process, accelerate learning. Go from where you are to where you want to go and really close the gap.
Exactly. And we'll mention here before we get started that those of you who are with us live on the air, just raise your hand on the computer or type in a question and we will get to your questions as soon as we can. But here I got to start with something, a stat that I couldn't believe when I read it, Todd. 80 to 90% of people who get into the real estate business are going to fail. And it's no wonder why those people are looking for a mentor.
Correct. It's a stat that when you first hear it and see it, right, it hurts. But here's what it tells us. It tells us that it's a different industry when they get there, right? And they realize, what do I do now? Well, I have to prospect. I have to do some marketing. I have to learn, right? Mm-hmm. In other words, I've learned all the legal stuff. I got my license, but now how do I go produce income?
Right. And here's a great stat. If you pick yourself up off the floor after learning how many agents fail, studies show that if you work with a mentor, you're going to have a 5-time greater chance of succeeding in your first 5 years. So why wouldn't you want to do this? Now, a mentor is not exactly the same as a coach. There's a lot of great coaches out there. Most of them will charge money for their services. They might be somebody that you reach over the phone. We're talking about a mentor who is in your office or in your area that you can talk to on an ongoing basis, and really the goal is for both of you to help each other out.
Exactly. And there's a lot of ways to find mentors, and we're going to go through those. And also look at, for you, as you're taking notes, listening, and watching our podcast today, think about even taking this topic and pivoting a little bit and maybe developing a local mastermind group that you meet local with realtors, 7 a.m., at a certain restaurant every Friday morning or 2 times a week, or also an integrity partner.
Right.
Is a way of a mentor that you hold each other accountable to whatever your metrics are.
So before we get into what you should look for in a mentor, here is what a mentor is not. A mentor is not an office friend or a coworker that you go to lunch with or hang out with once in a while. That's not the definition. It is somebody who is going to be committed to sharing their skills, knowledge, and their expertise with you while expecting that they're going to be able to help you in your development. And of course, you're going to share with them, so you're going to help each other out. And as Todd mentioned, an integrity partner is somebody who, when you say, okay, over the next 7 days, I'm going to make 100 cold calls to try to book a listing, or I'm going to go knock on 50 doors, that person is going to hold you to that and make sure that you are being honest with yourself and you're doing what you say you're going to do.
And here's something else to think about, and everybody listening and watching right now knows this. If we look at anybody that's accomplished something great in life, right? Whether it was Steve Jobs, whether it's a #1 real estate agent in your office, whether it's people we know, guess what? They've all at some point had a mentor that helped them accelerate the process, avoid speed bumps, close the gap. But you have to be coachable, you have to be open, and you have to let the ego go a little bit.
Here's a great example. Personally, I had a gym membership for many years. Did I ever show up? No.
Well, look at you. You don't need to. I mean,
well, that's because I ended up getting a personal trainer. Now you've got a trainer who's expecting you to show up there every morning And now I feel bad if I stand him up. So I'm like, okay, I'll show up. So he was kind of my integrity partner.
There's some accountability there.
Yeah, I paid him a lot of money to make sure I showed up. But it worked.
Beautiful.
I actually posted there.
Yeah.
And thank you for noticing the results, Todd. I
Yeah,
appreciate that.
the sculpture. It's
exactly.
part of it. Yeah.
All right, we should move on from that point. So ask yourself, what is really important when you are seeking out a mentor? What personality and character traits are important to you? They should be traits that you want to cultivate in yourself as well. Here's a great question. Are you an introvert? Todd, you and I, big introverts, right?
Exactly. Yeah, it's going to be a no on that one.
Right, okay. Do you want to work with somebody similar or learn from the style of somebody who is more of an extrovert? How are their communication skills? Are they going to communicate their feelings and their ideas with ease to you? And do they actually know what they're talking about? Do they have experience in what areas you want to get better in? You could have a mentor if you want to focus on cold calling or focus on your listing presentation. You want to find a mentor who has some expertise in that area.
Exactly. And as you're going through this to determine who that person is going to be or that group is going to be, maybe it's somebody who you admire the results that they have. Maybe it's someone who plays with integrity, who does what they say they're going to do. Maybe it's somebody who got great because they ran their small business like a successful small business. Mm-hmm. So you're going to look and find somebody and go, boom, I like who they are and what they've done.
That's a great way to find it. So how about different ideas on how to locate this perfect mentor? We told you some qualities that they need. Well, how do you find that person? Start at your office. That's a great place. You know many agents there already. Is there somebody that potentially fits the description of what you're looking for? Widen out the search to agents in your city that you admire. If there isn't a good fit at your office, you might even look at doing research online of agents in your area that might fit your description.
And I'll also say that as you're seeking out a mentor, guess what? This will be easier than you think because people want to help. People's instinct is if somebody comes and asks for advice, people admire that, right? Mm-hmm. They want to help other people. They want to see you win.
They're going to be flattered that you went to them to ask them for help.
Correct.
As well. If there's nobody in your office, nobody in your town, stop by, go to the local board of realtors meetings and meet other people. State conventions. Every state has a Realtor Association convention that you can go to. They don't have to be in your same city. They could be somebody that you talk to once a week on the phone. Just make sure you have a recurring appointment to make that happen. How do you approach a potential mentor? Don't sneak up to them or, do something creepy.
Don't scare them.
Figure out a way you can be of value or help to your potential mentor.
That's a huge point right there, because if somebody is mentoring you for free, no money, you have to bring something to the table. Mm-hmm. Are you fun to work with? Are you getting results quickly? So that's going to make them want to stay in the game and help you.
Right. Now, you could pay a mentor, but probably it's better if you've got somebody who sees benefit in helping you. They're going to be more motivated to be a good mentor to you. What could you offer? Offer help with conducting open houses or doing administrative work for them on an ongoing basis to help you learn and kind of help give back to that person.
Exactly.
So before you make a final decision on a mentor, what should you do? Well, how about go to lunch? Maybe take them to lunch. Pick up the tab. Get to know them better. Find out if they're comfortable discussing their past successes. You want to find out if they've ever mentored anybody before. If they said, yeah, I mentor people all the time, that might be a bad person because apparently he'd been fired from that job.
Right. They're doing mentoring, not real estate.
Right, exactly. Pay attention with how you interact with each other. Is it natural or is it awkward? And then once you've found a prospective mentor, clearly define so you both know and agree upon what you want from that relationship. Some things that you need to discuss. How much time do you want to spend communicating each month and in what ways?
And also it might be a time frame. So maybe it's a 3-month mentorship. Maybe it's 6 months. Maybe it's like what you guys are doing. Maybe it's just in perpetuity. As long as the energy's there, as long as the results are there, then you can continue that. But like you say, you have to have some rules in place and some structure in place to make that happen.
Right. And we recommend at least once a month, minimum of 1 hour. As you mentioned, I have a mentor that I talk to we do ours every 2 weeks, and we talk for an hour on the phone every Friday, 11:30.
So, and it's you two.
Clockwork.
Right. And I think what's great about that, and you two have been doing that for how many years
Probably
now?
8 years now.
8 years. And it's really two people at the same level just comparing notes and helping each other get stronger. True?
Exactly.
I mean, it's magnificent. So it's great for Steve and it's great for you as well.
Mm-hmm. So in addition to your weekly calls, how about email updates to keep you focused and on track? Let your partner know, here's what I've accomplished, or here's what I'm going to do as soon as you're off your call. Do a little summary email so you both know, okay, here's exactly where you are and what's going to happen. As we mentioned, an ongoing schedule. You want to set one up in advance that works for both of you, and you're both committed to maintaining that. Don't say, oh, we'll call here in a couple weeks. Set up the time before you get off the phone of your next appointment.
Exactly. And on the story about mentoring about you and Steve, I'll share briefly. So I actually made my broker my mentor in Bakersfield, California. So here I was brand new. And obviously he's there to help everybody. But I get in tight with him and I said, okay. And this was a real sentence. So he was trying to recruit me. And I liked him. We had a good rapport. And I said, question, if I'm going to do this, I don't want to come on board and just dabble and stumble through and maybe figure things out. I said, I want to get in and win right away. Mm-hmm. He paused for a quick second. He goes, okay. And this is an example of a mentor. And he goes, let the dishes pile up, do whatever you have to do, work on your listing presentation, whether it takes you 3 days or 3 weeks. And I know you have a goal board, erase everything on there and write 1 through 10. You do nothing else until that listing presentation is tight, and then you fill up that with listing appointments 1 through 10. If it falls out, you put it back in. After you do 10, we're going to talk again. What was great about that was he knew I would get beat up a little bit. Mm-hmm. He knew I would win a little bit. He knew I would make some money, and he knew I would come to the table with more questions. But he also wanted to test me to say, are you willing to do what it takes to become great and not just one of the average?
Right. Would you actually take the time to do what I'm asking you to do to get better?
Right, exactly.
Perfect. And you didn't have this beautiful view out your window, I'm assuming, the palm trees and the beach to distract you at that point.
No.
Not in Bakersfield.
No, Bakersfield, yeah, you're lucky to drive by a lake or a mountain or an oil well, but yeah, this is...
Not like this here, right? So, what activities would you like to focus on? You need to decide that with your mentor. How much time are you going to spend shadowing each other? How much time in question and answer brainstorming sessions? How much time creating and reviewing your business plan, marketing, or networking activities that you're doing? And finally, how do you get the most from your mentor relationship over time? So here's a few options. Prepare for each meeting with your mentor in advance. Don't just show up and say, hey, what's new, right?
Exactly. That's disrespectful. So, yeah, not even 1% is that allowed.
Right. Keep a specific notebook with you and write down questions and areas of the conversation as they come to you throughout the week. That way you're not going to try to remember when you get on the phone. You're going to have it written down in front of you. And it's easy after a while to say, oh, I can go ask Joe about this question when I speak with him on Friday because I've got something that I would like some help.
Exactly. And on that point, I think what's critical is for somebody to be real and raw, because if you want to get better, you have to be open to, to where's your weakness in your business right now? Do you have some fear and uncertainty? How are they going to know that unless you share? Mm-hmm. So they're going to help you with your mindset. So that's a great point you bring up.
If there's a specific topic that you want to discuss during an upcoming phone call, email your mentor in advance and allow him time to prepare for it. So that way he's not just saying, gee, I don't know. He can actually put some thought into it and help you out, which is the point. Plan some outings with your mentor aside from your assigned schedule meetings. The better your relationship is, the better your outcome will be. Always be honest with your mentor. If you're experiencing a failure or a challenge, even if it's embarrassing, you want to share this information. Don't try to be phony or put up a front to impress your mentor, because you'll lose out in the long run.
Exactly. And I was going to add one thing to that I wrote down here, and it's very interesting. So at this stage, those of you listening and watching that are in your real estate career, it's like the pro level, okay? And think about as we were younger and we did sports perhaps, right? Mm-hmm. So there's 3 levels of mentorship I wrote down. The first one is the fundamentals. So when we're kids, they're teaching us the fundamentals. Let's say it's soccer. Let's say it's a sport. Mm-hmm. You go to college. Guess what the college people are supposed to do? They're supposed to motivate you. Let's say you're an athlete. So now they're going to motivate you to see how good is this person potentially. Then you make it to the pro level. Guess what their job is to do? Confrontation. They already challenge you. They know you have the fundamentals in place. They know that you're motivated. Now they have to keep you from getting sloppy, keep you from getting complacent. They have to challenge you, confrontation.
Right. And the mentor, if you pick the right one, is going to do that for you as well and help you get to the highest level possible.
And the magic of all of this, in my mind, is really two things. One, it will help you as the realtor. If you take this, digest it, embrace it, it's going to help you accelerate the process. And then here's the one way to pay back, is to become a mentor down the road for someone that needs it.
Absolutely.
That's hungry, that's coachable, that's trainable. That's the way to pay back.
And the truth is, that's going to help you as well, being a mentor for somebody else. You're always going to be learning from that experience.
Exactly. I've interviewed a lot of people that were mentors, and they say, I've learned more than my mentee did. So it's a great win-win if these variables are in place.
Excellent. Well, just a couple more topics. So if you do have a question, be sure to hit the hand on the live webinar for our podcast, and we will get to your questions here in a moment. So you also want to be open to feedback from your mentor, which goes back to your story, Todd. Don't take it personal. Even if it's criticizing you, it's all meant to help you out. You've got to be able to listen to it, be open-minded, and consider the advice that you're being given by your mentor.
Exactly. And some of those conversations can be tough, but the tougher they are, that means they care more, and you've built a good relationship there.
Perfect. Lisa, anything to add to our mentor discussion?
Yes, we do have a question from Nancy. She says she's shy and she does not want to come on the air. She typed in this question. I tried to coax her.
Okay, that's fine.
So her question is, how do I choose between a mentor or a coach if I only want to use one? I'm not sure which to go after.
Well, all right, I'll take it first if you want. All right, so I would say that's an easy one. First of all, start off to go find a mentor. First of all, it's going to cost you nothing. Here again, our objective with Take a Listing today is to help you with strategies. Think about this. This morning, when you woke up, if you had a mentor, whether it's in your office or your city or somewhere throughout the country or the world, and you had nothing on your calendar today, and you went to your mentor and said, I'm panicking. What's wrong? I have nothing on the calendar. Great, boom, go do this. And that thing that they give you is something that's going to help you stir it up, prospect, lead generation, to potentially come back at the end of the day and have a listing in your hand. So there are a lot of coaches out there. I would say go with mentoring first, right? It's not going to cost you any money. And that will give you time to look at all the coaches and see if you want to go. That's when you want to level up in a huge way.
I do actually agree with that completely. If you start with a mentor, then you're going to be somebody local, probably in your office or at least in your own city, so you can meet face to face. It's not going to cost you anything. You can build off of each other's strengths. And then when you get to a particular level that you think you're ready, then you can investigate a coach, because it's probably somebody you're talking to on the phone. You're not going to meet unless you go to a big event rally or something that the coach might have. It's going to cost you some money, but it may be worth it when you get to that level.
Correct, exactly. But the thing is, do something, put something in place, whether it's you this week deciding in your office, okay, who are the 4 or 5 players, or in your board of realtors, who are 4 or 5 people that I know that are great at getting listings, that are sharp people, that will do what they say they're going to do. Then you, Nancy, is that her name?
Yes, Nancy.
Thank you. I wanted to get it right. Nancy could start her own mastermind group. And in some cities, I've noticed people are afraid to do that because, I don't want them to. But guess what? Once the mastermind group is started, people are not worried about that because there's so much business in every city, and it's only 5 or 6 or 8 people anyway. So.
Yeah, and that's a great way to kind of wrap this up, is the mastermind group. You mentioned it at the beginning. It doesn't just have to be 2 people in here. It could be a group of 5, 6 people. You go out, you hit breakfast every week at a particular time that's set, and you have a discussion about what's new, what challenges have you had, what successes have you had, and you'll really be able to share some great knowledge by just joining that group.
Exactly.
I would say also it's really important, you know how they say your circle of influence or your circle of friends? Make sure these are people that are driven, that are positive, that it doesn't become a group of people sitting and complaining or discussing failures or just talking about what's going wrong in the industry, that won't. That won't.
Hopefully you're surrounding yourself with positive people and
Right.
good influences, right?
Right.
All right. Does that help Nancy out?
Yeah, she hasn't.
Good.
Outstanding.
Good.
Yeah,
Perfect.
She says thank you.
She says thank you. All right. Well, I'm glad we were able to help her out. Well, that is our show on how to find a real estate mentor. If you'd like to be part of our next audience for our next live taping, go to our website, takealistingtoday.com, to view the dates of our next tapings and to sign up. You'll have a chance to ask questions and maybe even win a prize.
So stay strong, stay committed, take this information and go out there and take a listing today.
And the Take a Listing Today podcast is brought to you by ProspectsPLUS. They offer a multitude of marketing materials that will ensure your success. Be sure to visit them at ProspectsPLUS.com.